Hello everybody and welcome to Journal Auto YouTube channel. Today we will do some car spotting in an Eastern European village. Because when people from other parts of Europe and even of the world, when they are thinking of Eastern Europe, they are usually thinking of Soviet countries or dirt poor people and so on. But I'm in a village in Eastern Europe, more exactly in Romania, in the eastern part of Romania, in the region of Moldavia. And you will see that things are not quite as you might think, because this is a quite developed village with paved roads everywhere, with ultra-modern school, with a lot of facilities that make it look like a small town, for example. And stay with me to see what cars we can find in such a village in Eastern Europe. So we have here a 5th generation Volkswagen Golf and a 2nd generation Ford Focus wagon, which are cars that are very common in Romania and in this part of Europe. So we have here an abandoned Volkswagen Charon. This car is abandoned here for several years already. This was a quite popular car in this part of Europe, although Romanians do not love at all this type of cars, this type of minivans, but this one was pretty popular in the 2000s. We are now in the center of the village and we have here a 2nd generation Audi A3 in 3 doors, and of course the good old Dacia Duster. Here we have 3 cars. On the right it's a Seat Ibiza that was produced between 2002 and 2009. In the middle we have a Fiat Punto, and on the left we have a 2nd generation Renault Megane hatchback. Of course, you are not in a typical Romanian village without a Dacia 1310. This is what we call the CN3, so it was the 3rd facelift. And down there we have an Opel Astra from the 2nd generation, or how Opel calls it, Astra G. Here we have a 1st generation Dacia Logan, or Renault Logan as it is called in other parts of Eastern Europe, like in Ukraine and Russia. This is a still quite popular car in Romanian villages. Nissan X-Trail. This is a rare presence in Romanian villages. Here we have a 1st generation Fiat Punto. Here on the back it's a Dacia Logan pickup, which is very rare because it was not a successful model. And here in the front a Renault Megane Sedan facelift from the 2nd generation. The estate version of the Opel Astra J is very popular in Romanian villages. People are even using them for daily work, even for agricultural work. Volkswagen Passat B6, one of the most preferred cars by Romanian, and BMW 3 Series E91 wagon generation. So it is the wagon of the E90. Alfa Romeo 156. This is a rare car not only in Romanian villages but in the whole country also. On the right side we have a 4th generation BMW 1 Series E87 generation. On the left, the first car is a Renault Sonic from the 2nd generation, and in the back of it, it's a 4th generation Volkswagen Golf. Here it is a BMW 5 Series from the F10 generation. Here we have a 1st generation Renault Megane hatchback version, and it is the facelifted version. Here we have a 3rd generation Opel Corsa that was produced between the year 2000 and 2006. There is another facelifted Opel Insignia, or UK Volkswagen Insignia A, and in front of it is a Ford Tourneo Connect. Here is a 4th generation Nissan Qashqai, the model that invented this class of urban crossovers, and here it's a Skoda Fabia from the 1st generation. Here on the left we have a Hyundai Trajet, another minivan. It seems that people in the countryside love minivans, but this is a very rare car in whole Romania, not only in villages. On the left side we have a 2nd generation Seat Leon. Then again on the left, the white one is a van, a Volkswagen Transporter, and behind We have the red one, another Fiat Punto from the first generation, and behind it we have a third generation Opel Zafira. And here is another fifth generation Volkswagen Golf. Here we have a third generation Opel Vectra C, the father of Opel insignia. The white one is a Lancia Y, an Italian car, very rare in Romania. And in front of it, in yellow, it's a Mercedes Vito van. The first car, it's a Passat B7 generation. Basically, it's a facelift after B6. And there, the second one is a Ford Transit van. You can see that there are several vans in the village because people are still doing agriculture, not as much as in the past, but they're still producing vegetables, crops, cereals, and so on. Here we have a first car, it's a Peugeot 206. Then in the middle, the next one, it's Opel Zafira B. It seems that even if Romanians usually don't like minivans, seems that in this village people really love minivans. And the blue one between them, it's a fourth generation Volkswagen Golf. Here is a second generation Opel Vectra, also called Opel Vectra B. And last but not least, BMW 5 Series Wagon, F11 generation, so it's the estate version of F10 generation. So here we are. As you saw, the village looks quite nice for an Eastern European village, and also as you saw, people have quite decent cars, not the newest ones, but also not the oldest ones. And maybe you saw that people are not at all dirt poor, as many would think when they hear of Eastern Europe. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and maybe I broken some stereotypes, and maybe you'll follow me in other videos too.